I want a Bing, and I get a Bing, and it was on KickOff. It's our second KickOff, and so I was just posting into the channel. Due to time constraints, we're going to try and squeeze the asynchronous retrospective review into the start of the KickOff. Here we go. So we've got the. This is the. Has everybody had a chance to look at the retrospective document that we have here?
I did.
Yes, and it looks like people have got there. You can see at least 3 different anonymous people in there. So in the interest of time, let's leap through it and see if we can generate any particular action items from here. So with struggles is waffle permissions. I guess we're going down these. To a certain extent, it's up to any of us. How much time we want to spend, if any, on any of these things. I think I'm just having a discussion with Tony Butler in the general channel about. I think he'd like to be able to, tag issues and all this and something other. At least for me personally, while I can relate to these struggles, I think it's kind of working okay at the moment. Does anybody else want to touch on struggles with waffle permissions?
I think maybe the reason it's working okay is because everybody that's using it has permissions now.
Yes, indeed.
So that may not be working okay going forward if we get people that don't have permissions.
Yes. Well, and that's it's an interesting question about who we bring into the kind of quote unquote core team or not. And yes, I guess I'm sort of Tony Butler's got lots and lots of wonderful ideas. I guess I'm kind of feeling that we're in a reasonably good place in that his ability to tag things is somewhat restricted at the moment. I'm kind of I don't feel too bad about that. I don't know about anybody else, but he brings the idea is that well, it may not scale if the core team has to triage every issue to classify them, but it sort of makes sense, I think, in general, that a core team is triaging the items and that a limited number of people can control the board. Would you agree?
Yeah, would make sense.
And so I'm
It makes sense as long as we're actively triaging it.
Yes, indeed. So I guess we've got.
I don't think I need waffle permissions if everything with the issue management can be automated. So I wouldn't really want if it can be automated to certain sentences in the GitHub issues, then I wouldn't really care about having waffle permissions or not.
Yes, and I think that's the idea. I think the interesting thing is that the specific thing that I think is getting in Tony Butler's bonnet is that he can't assign the labels. But I think for you, you're not too bothered about whether you can assign the labels or not. So yes, let's be mindful of this going forward and keep it in mind. Struggles, finding time to contribute to AgileVentures, a struggle we all face. Nothing we can magically do about that, although ultimately I hope to start being able to pay people, but that's another story. Inability to attend live meetings. We were just talking about this in the hangout that we were in before, in the stand-up, and I'm pretty you were saying that you felt that the video stand-ups tended to run much smoother, and you kind of preferred them to text-based ones.
We did have the first Natsu meeting, even though I wasn't part of it. I felt if you have a large community, then it's maybe a maximum of in a community maybe 5 to 6 people will be online, whereas there might be 20 people in the chat room. There might be 20 people who are participating, but at a time maybe 5 to 6 people are online. So it's kind of a pain to have to skip through everyone. And it's easier to have either a text stand-up, a custom text stand-up in Slack, where you just type down what you've done, or just have a video stand-up. I think that's much easier.
Yeah, well, I think you're referring to this. I don't know if Michael and Raoul are aware. So the refugee technical project Unity, as they're now called, trying out Tatsu. Yeah, I think with Tatsu, potentially you can switch it so that you basically, even though there's 20 people on the channel, there's only 5 people who participate in the tech stand-up. But yeah, I mean, sort of, one can just do an impromptu tech stand-up. I mean, at the moment, you know, the group of us here, we're the only people who are really actually coding, and so if this all works for us, then that's fine. And I think there's an ability to take live meetings, particularly Tony Butler's issue, and you know, I don't think he necessarily has any time to do coding. So I think to the extent that we start ending up having more people who are coding, and if there is a problem with them, you know, not being able to coordinate, then we can look at that issue there. Maybe right now, I mean, there's a broader issue of like, how do we make sure that AgileVentures as a whole, you know, like, is kind of inclusive. You know, we want to. Sorry, Sanford, I'm just going to mute you there. We want to make sure that, you know, we want as many people as possible working on, you know, the projects and AgileVentures and so on. And so I think it's important for us to try and support, you know, the way in which everybody wants to oh god, what is it to contribute? Yeah. So then we've got here this like too many. So this is like, you know, we were kind of in a website one kickoff. There's this of like the different Slack channel naming conventions. I think that may be an important issue, but I'm gonna maybe skip over it for the moment. We've got this one though. It says discuss current protocol for accepting pull requests, and +2 on that. So I get is that specifically website one. So we've got the website one things. Yeah, I mean the protocol for accepting the pull requests, I think basically is now this is going to be accepted here. Does anybody need clarification on the process by which pull requests are accepted?
Well, I just raised the issue yesterday to see whether the current one is okay to continue with it. Because actually, okay, so I'm the only one, but now with you, we review the code and
right.
We decide whether or not to merge it in or not.
Yes.
So if that's okay, then we carry on with it. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that would be it for the time being. I mean, and you know, different projects have different, you know. So in local support, for example, I'm the only person who merges pull requests. In I think Ostra, you know, they have a track where, like, you know, if 2 of the core team agree on a pull request, then it gets merged, and you know, there's different processes. I think for the time being with us at this size, basically Raul, you and I coordinating the merging the pull requests seems like the way to go, right?
Okay. Works for me.
Cool. So, yep, we've successes switched to Waffle. We've got a Tatsu account. Whether we will want to try that Tatsu at some point, I guess we'll let other people encounter the rough edges, perhaps. And then NWSO is listed on AquaGov.net, which is great. And we merged some pretty pull requests. So, suggestion: more text chat-based meetings. We could try, you know, like we could try having a text retrospective or a text kickoff at some point. I mean, for everyone here, I'm assuming that doing this sort of mixed kickoff retrospective now works reasonably well. Is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, this is a general thing here. Like, it would be great for all of the online meetings if we had like short summary of meeting topics afterwards. As Tony was saying the other day, but it's manual labor to want to do that. I'm sort of what I've ended up creating. Did I create it for the local support? Is actually kind of an ongoing, you know, Google Doc, which is like I changed it to retrospective and then kickoff notes. So once we finish the retrospective, we'll, you know, maybe that would be where the summaries are going. Audio made available afterwards. This is Tony. I think he'd love to have like the podcast rather than the YouTube stream. That sounds like a possible, you know, feature suggestion for website one. And he's also saying there. But so yeah, we've got a lot of suggestions from Tony Butler. Any suggestions from anyone else here on, you know, ways in which we're doing things in website one?
You were talking about how I could move up the Hangout notification part into website one instead of having it as a third-party app. I guess that could be done. I mean, that would be.
Yeah. I mean, this relates to the Agile Ops posting things. I mean, I would say that it feels like that maybe the thing that's doing this is more complex than it needs to be. I would say probably the higher priority though is adjusting things so that the MOOC pairing sessions get posted into the Gitter rather than this. I mean, I think the AgileBot is, particularly now you fixed that YouTube blank link thing. I think we're in a better place.
One more thing. I just checked the production logs, and I think there was no request except from the first request from Hangouts, Google Hangouts to website one. So I think it might be a bug with the Hangout connection.
Yeah, and that's going to happen sometime. So not a problem. Let's not worry too much about that. Okay, so I think we've got the key action item coming out of this is that we should, be triaging the board and doing it regularly. Does anybody else have any other thoughts and suggestions looking back on things over the last week since the last kickoff?
Actually, what you actually talked about in the stand-up, we just had the thing to automatically post the chats. That's actually a really, really good idea. I don't think anything like that exists. You might have an idea for a new product, but that's actually a really, really good idea.
Sorry, I missed the stand-up. What was that about?
So what that was about is, I mean, when we're in the Hangout, we've got this chat environment here, like this, and it's kind of frustrating that chat environment disappears. We lose it when we leave the Hangout, and I mean, there is actually there's a Slack, supposedly a Slack integration app here that someone has started on, which I've tried, but doesn't seem to actually work as far as I can tell. I've never got it working. It just sort of appears. But if the chat in the Hangout was kind of like a chat channel in Slack, then in principle, you could have one person who was doing note taking in the live meeting and saying, "Oh, we're saying this, we're saying that, whatever," and other people who couldn't necessarily attend they couldn't stream the YouTube, they couldn't actually be in the Hangout, could be kind of following along with the text thing and making suggestions from outside. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
I was actually referring to your idea that was before that was even
my apologies.
Maybe a little bit more far-fetched of having something automatically transcribing.
Oh, okay, right. Well, that's the yes.
I mean, that technology exists. I mean, obviously.
Well, it exists to the extent that we've got, the YouTube. Right. So the idea of the integrated chat channel thing that I'm just describing there is my attempt to achieve the more magical thing, which is that if you had an automated system that was just transcribing our voices into text in real time and just sort of giving us a meeting log, as it were. I mean, when you say that technology is there, Michael, I think it is there, but I think from my experience with YouTube and YouTube automatic transcriptions, I think that the quality at the moment might be unacceptably low. Although maybe am I missing something? Is there something else that's available these days that's doing that more reliably?
I wasn't necessarily talking about the YouTube version of it. But, I mean, just the idea that it could almost be like a bot or something that essentially attends the meeting and transcribes the audio in real time. It's I don't know. It's far-fetched. It's out there, but it's actually an incredibly good idea.
Oh well, I like it totally. I think if we had what's the word? If one had that functionality, it would be awesome. I mean, I think that just to be able to record the meeting. Interestingly, I'm just sort of logging into Slack in the Google Hangouts here. I think if we had that functionality, it would be really, really useful. I mean, I think taking minute taking of meetings. Yes, you could get it all working. So I mean, I'm here. You probably can't see it actually. So I've got integrated Slack here, and it's invite a challenge to join, and there's somebody just not working for me. Anyway, yes, but I'm glad you like that idea, Michael. I mean, I think in the long run, yeah. I mean, as I say, that could be just a product in general. If you had a plug-in bot for Google Hangouts that just took meeting notes for you, that would be very, very cool. Okay. So let's get on quickly into the kickoff portion of the meeting, and we can probably do that from the board. So if we're at the board, we've got this wonderful report from Michael. Basically, so Michael, you were saying you do want to leave this bit of code where it is because that supports the manual testing, and I guess that's fine. And my concern was, is this something that we actually want to be, pushing in and influencing the Roku production environment, because this config application.rb, that's going to affect everything, right?
Right. I mean, it's grabbing the environment from it's grabbing the time zone from the environment, and that this runs on Heroku, right? So I guess that Heroku environment is set to UTC, but we're relying on an assumption here, and our application depends on this assumption. So why not actually, rather than relying on an assumption, actually make it explicit?
Okay. Yeah.
That was my thinking anyway, because I mean, if anybody, if you just turn your computer over to some other time zone and then go look at the site, you'll see that all the recurring events, all the times are all screwed up on there.
All right. Well, I guess I'm convinced. I guess the only other thing. Go on.
We could potentially enforce that every developer has an env file on the local system, and we just pull that value maybe from that env file and use it.
Yes, we could have like .env associated with the project. I guess the only other thing was that when we were reviewing this pull request, Sampriti brought up the issue that we have this kind of settings thing, these settings YAML things, which is kind of where things are supposed to go. To be honest, I feel like we should just merge this and get this out there, because this is going to be like a big step forward for people using the events framework, and we can kind of clean this up. We kind of held on to this for a couple of days just to look at that. I think and the sort of, I mean, the .env thing really, Raul, for having individual env environment would be where everybody needs to have a different, like key or this, that, and the other. I think what Michael's saying is like, actually, we're assuming that this is going to be the case, so we should explicitly set this to be the case. I think there's less of an argument for it being.
Can I ask what?
Go on, Michael. Sorry,
sorry, guys. What is this pull request fixing? I'm sorry for jumping in so late.
This pull request is fixing the situation at the moment. Well, it's not. It's adding a new feature. It's not so much a fix as it's basically at the moment, everybody everywhere around the world, when they go to the events page, they see all of the times in UTC. And what this feature, what this changes is that if somebody's in UTC +5, when they go to the event page, they'll see all of the event times automatically translated into UTC +5.
Okay, but don't we have that on the show page for an event already?
Possibly, possibly, but we don't have it here, and I think it's needs to be here. Like it shows these kind of things here, but if you're browsing these events in this environment,
But so for me, the way I see it is we have it on the show page already. Why do we have to make a big change just to display it on the index page? I don't really see that problem.
It wasn't a big change.
No,
but,
there's no. Yeah, go on, Michael.
Yeah, it wasn't a big change. The environment thing. Maybe that should even be a separate pull request. The environment thing was to fix an issue I discovered when I was trying to do this local time thing. I was having all sorts of time zone issues where events were being put in the wrong time zone, and I discovered it was because the website itself requires to be run in UTC time. Otherwise, that ice cube gem goes haywire. They aren't necessarily, they're kind of connected, but not necessarily connected. One doesn't require the other.
Yeah. So
that makes sense.
So Thomas, like basically, the pull request is mainly just adding a format local time operation, and formatting the this page, so that these things will be in the local time rather than UTC. And then it was that change here in terms of the environment is just to make the test pass consistently.
Okay, I understand. All right, because yeah, all right. Thank you for the
Cool.
clarification.
All right, so I think let's merge it.
Yeah.
And that should automatically put it on the develop server, and we can see how it plays
Yeah,
there.
it will build it and deploy to develop.
Cool. And so we can see there, as a result of having merged that automatically moves that into the done area. So we've got, basically, if looking on the board, we've got these two in-progress things that basically, these are sort of outstanding pull requests from before. Let's not dive into them immediately. Let's just sort of let's triage maybe at the higher level and talk about what we want to focus on in this meeting. But so we've got this one which is about the GitHub commit counts, and there's this pull request from Jeff, and from a while back there were merge conflicts that I seem to fix, but then some things failed locally. Thomas has described this to me as being related to sort of like cleaning up a hack and so on. I guess in my mind I'm trying to work out how much, if any, time I should bother spending on there. And then there's this other one which is an outstanding pull request from Brian that he had that's updating the events show page, and he doesn't really have time to work on it. And I guess, yeah, basically we've got these things, and so my rule of thumb is, well, we've got outstanding pull requests and they've been hanging around for a while. We need to get them sorted out. So that's one thing on my mind. And we could maybe as a group now get into either of those. I don't know if that's what I want to do. We've got a number of things in our ready backlog. We could be working through those, voting on them, assigning them, and then we've got the backlog itself and new things coming into there. So I'm just thinking about what's the best. Should we perhaps be review the ready column and then come back to the in progress ones if we've got time?
I'd say let's review the ready column.
Yeah. Okay. So we've got this one here. Now we've imported this from the what is this? We've imported this from Pivotal, and we've basically got a potential, a security hole there. Let's just go and have a look. Now, was somebody working on this? What do we have here? Okay, so this is actually somebody you were the owner of this one. Is this something that you remember, that you care strongly about, or what's the deal with this?
I did start the story, but I did tell you a few days back that I'll find some time to work on this after the Gitter thing is over. So
okay. My apologies.
It's basically that if you're if you opt out of the hire me button on your profile page, it should not show the hire me button, but you can still send people emails through the URL. It's not blocked in the controller. Sure. That's basically.
Okay. Yeah. My apologies if I have. No, you said you've broken it. Well, in that case, then, so I can put. So obviously, it feels like it's a good thing to fix up. It's not a huge rush, but yeah, I can assign you to that there, and yeah, we'll check it around next week if it's still an issue. This was a little bug. This one here that you found, Michael. That we've noticed. I guess the question for the ready one is, for any of these, for prioritizing these, is maybe should we just go back to this one? So I'm pretty. Having looked at this one, should we just do a quick vote on this in terms of the size of how complex it's going to be?
Do that. I can explain the fix to people. It's basically that you just need to put an if condition in the controller where if the user does not have hire me enabled, then you just do not let this request go through, and then write some tests for it. So I think it should be a pretty short story.
Yeah. Does anybody want any further clarification on that from somebody? If people are all right with that, should we just do a quick synchronous vote in the website 1 channel? So if you want to just type in your complexity of 1, 2, or 3, or actually we can support up to 100. We've got the Fibonacci, whole sort of Fibonacci series here, and we'll do 3 and 2 and 1 and hit return. And we are unanimous. There you go. I love it when we're unanimous. Okay, and we voted on that story. Okay, let's go on to this one. This one, I guess, yeah, you noticed this, Michael, but you haven't gone into any detail of investigating it, have you?
No, I haven't looked at it at all.
No.
But I would say I think it's kind of a. It seems cosmetic, but I think it's kind of critical.
Yeah.
Just because it looks really bad when somebody goes to make their first.
Absolutely. And I think you were also saying that you were thinking that what you might work on next was trying to make it so that these ones could accept time input in the user's time zone rather than in UTC.
Right.
Right. So would it make sense to assign you to this one?
Yeah, I mean, it might even be able to be combined with the other one.
Yeah.
That little pop-up might go away altogether.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And does it make any sense to vote on the size of this? I feel like it's maybe premature to vote on the size of this. It's one of those
This
ones
particular issue, I don't think is a big deal. It's probably just some missing icons or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably not a big
Just
deal.
missing icons. So.
I guess. Oh well, let's vote on it. It's good to get numbers into these things. That gives us our project burn down. So, voting on this one.
Yes, but I still don't understand the scope of this. What we're voting for? Are we fixing up a cosmetic issue, or is?
Yeah, well, this one was. I would say this one is specifically the bug fix. This is not the UTC. Yeah. It's the bug fix. So if we're voting here, it's voting on trying to fix this bug fix. Find out what happens to the icons.
So one thing that I just identify is that it's using a class called icon chevron up. So it could be that the font that we're using for icons on the website doesn't support that naming anymore. So.
Yeah. So it sounds like, I think, Michael, that thing that you're thinking of working on next, I don't know if we have do we have a ticket or a feature for, submission of events in the user's own time zone?
There was one in Pivotal Tracker. I don't know if it got into.
Yeah. Do you want to have a quick look and migrate that across if you've got a spare hand there? Yeah. In the meantime, should we have a quick vote on this icon-related issue?
Yep.
Okay, so if you type your number into the Slack chat room, and I'll give you a 3 and a 2 and a 1 and a ping. Okay, we're looking fairly unanimous on that. Okay, so I've got a couple of stories here that I added here in the ready, basically junk in the Cucumber log and their RSpec log, which we should kind of clear up. I don't see these as hugely high priority, but they're it would be nice to do. We've got the up for grabs label on them.
They will disappear when we merge Jeff Thomas.
When we merge what, sorry? Oh, really?
We have the GitHub. Yeah, so the junk that you guys are referring to without actually specifying.
Okay, so you're saying there, Thomas.
I assume that it's the goods tag that we
Okay. So you're saying there, what was it, 750, 751?
Explained last time.
Your audio's suddenly gone quiet there, Thomas, for some reason. I'll just try and boost your audio. It's 750 and 7. Okay, but that's so that okay. That makes sense. So maybe I will try and get into those through this GitHub commit count. So let's just. I don't think it's even worth voting on these ones. They're kind of. But I think what I would say generally is for all of us, whenever we're working on things, to the extent that we can exclude things from the log and make it so that there's a clean output, that's just going to make all of our lives easier. Looking at this, so this is something for me, like the kind of critical thing. I think we want a payment framework in the system for premium membership. I was almost going to start on this today, and I just thought, well, I must try and get the charity constitution thing submitted first, because that will be a gateway to a bank account, and that's what some people will also need. So that's kind of hanging there. Maybe should we just have a quick vote on this? Anybody got any strong feelings about payment framework for premium membership?
Go on, Thomas. Is that about Stripe or what?
Well, it'll be Stripe or Go Cardless or what have you. Yes, I mean basically it will involve, you know, like integrating some sort of payment framework with the system.
All right. So setting up a payment framework, you know, is not that complicated, but it involves API and stuffing up requests. But then we need to know where to put the interface, and we have an idea about that.
Well, I mean, I think initially we would just have a completely separate page. I mean, I think in the long, where it should fit into the framework and where we would be like calling out to people and say, hey, get the benefits of being a premium AgileVentures member. That is kind of almost another story, I would say. A bit like what I've done with the pricing page is, I'd like to be able to get like set up so that we can just have here, like on this page, it said like, want to be a premium member? Click here, and just that we had the flow kind of all ready to go. I mean, having that bit working, I would see as the critical thing. There's almost like a separate story, is like the ongoing redesign and the user flow in the site towards what are the points at which we would be suggesting people actually do that. Sorry, Raul, what were you going to say?
So looking at the story, it almost seems like we just need to decide whether to go with Stripe or Go Cardless, I guess. Well, that's what I get from reading that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess Go Cardless, I think, is just a UK solution.
Okay.
And so I'm sort of assuming it's Stripe. Like, I mean, Stripe allows us to take credit card payments. I believe Go Cardless, I think, is just it's recurring payments, but I think it's that UK. I don't know if it works. It's like direct debits and so on. I don't know. Maybe it can support. That would be the thing to sort of look into from my point of view. Does this work anywhere other than the UK? I know this is a way of avoiding a lot of the fees that are associated with credit card payments and PayPal and so on.
So I would say that I don't want to go against your wishes because I understand you want to implement this right now, but I would say that if we don't have an idea where to put that interface, it feels like a little bit of a premature optimization for me to actually set that framework up without using it anywhere. So it feels a little backward, but if it's just about the implementation of this mechanism, I'm ready to vote on it.
Well, I mean, it's sort of, because I hear what you're saying about it being backwards. Yeah, let's vote on setting up the mechanism. I mean, because I think part of what I want to do is before building a whole framework around where should we put it in this and the other is identify the problems with actually integrating it in the first place and whether there's like gem conflicts and so on. Yeah, so let's if we can, shall we just vote on like setting up that payment framework rather than the we'd say like the UX issues we would be considering separately.
Sure, I've implemented Stripe in 2 applications in both Rails, one Rails and one Sinatra app, and it's pretty straightforward. The testing is a little tricky sometimes, with everything that has to do with APIs.
Yeah.
But I'm ready to vote on it.
Okay, well, yeah, unless there's any other questions, let's get to our website 1 Slack channel, and with a 3 and a 2 and a 1, let's have a little vote there. So Thomas and I have gone for a 3, so some pretty rows there with it. Michael gone for the 3. Raul, you're on your own with the 2. Any you want to justify your position?
Well, the 2 is mainly because of the testing side of things. Integrating the whole thing is not that difficult. Yeah.
No, and I've integrated Stripe before as well. I think I'm if I'm both for the 3, I think we're just being conservative, really.
Yeah. I don't mind upping to a 3.
I was considering a 2.
Yeah.
Given the complexity of the website 1 code.
Yeah.
I would say a 3 on this one.
Yeah, we've put that in a good show. Okay, so moving on, we've got. Oh, go on.
Hey, just a comment on that is, do we really need to go through all that? I mean, why?
Go through what? Sorry.
The whole. Do we really have to implement our own accepting credit cards and stuff? Can you not? Can we just do a PayPal? I mean.
Well, we could do a PayPal. I mean, I'm particularly keen. I mean, it could be PayPal. I mean, Stripe. It's not. we're not writing our own credit card processing thing. We would be using something like, Stripe or GoCardless that basically is like a gem that we plug in and then supports payments things. I think the particular thing that I'm keen to, we're working with PayPal. I know that the fees are very high. What I'm particularly keen to be able to do is to be able to support recurring payments, so that people could basically, have a recurring premium membership fee of like a certain small amount per month. Now, maybe PayPal can support that. I'm not aware of them doing that.
No, and since we're doing a little bit of premature optimization already, you can have features like payment history for each user, and things like that. We can have subscriptions running over a period of time, and we can see whose subscription is about to expire and stuff like that. If we use Stripe, that's
right.
There are pretty far more many options than with PayPal, I would say.
Okay.
Does that make sense, Michael?
Yep. I wasn't thinking down that far. I was just thinking of getting one payment.
Right. Yeah. Well, and I think that's the thing. I think we've done, in the past, we've done like little fundraising things where we've received, single payments, and we've had like a single button. And I think particularly, I'm thinking, I want to be able to support the independently of all that stuff. The recurring payments thing is I think maybe critical to our longevity.
Yeah, I mean, I might even go higher than 3 if we're going in that complicated, just because
we're gonna split this up in several features.
I think what one is I'm just keen to see if the current website one with the current version of Ruby and Rails and everything will just allow us to do that. So yeah, cool.
And the answer is yes.
Well, we think the answer is yes, sure. So this moving we've got this other. This is So this is from Joao. We've got this issue that the project description. I guess that's the project description specifically for the Met Plus doesn't seem to be pulling in some of the stuff to do with. I mean, we've got the thing that Met Plus is quite active, but they're quite low down in the in the rankings here. And then there was, I guess, I don't know. Thomas, do you know?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
What's
so the reason is that we need to run that rake task to get those GitHub commit counts. We're sorting the projects depending on how many commits there has been made.
Yes.
And that rake task is not being run.
Okay, So it needs to have a rake task enabled, and was that rake task has to be run manually, or what was
to be honest, I don't quite remember, but I'm 90% sure that yes, we need to run this manually. We don't have that set up.
I see. Okay, and I guess I should be able to find. I mean, I'm looking at website one codebase here.
Called rake fetch GitHub commits. You just need to run that once in production. I think that will fix it.
So fetch GitHub commits. I mean, I guess I shouldn't be doing this now. GitHub _ commits is there's a job of some kind. Scheduler rake. Okay, it's this thing here. Okay. And so I guess we've got some kind of anyway. So we'll separately. That's something. I guess whatever the config with that or whatever has somehow got broken. And it looks like that's something that we should get done. Does anybody? I mean, I should potentially look at this tomorrow. I mean, basically, it seems like Raul, this is you and I should be looking at this, perhaps together at some point.
To fix this, you basically just need to run the rake task on production, and that would fetch the
yes, we can run it once, but then it's going to go out of sync again. I would have thought that the key thing is to have the rake task enabled to run with a certain frequency, right? So it should run.
Yeah. Then we need a worker dyno for that. That's why we made it manual.
Okay. Do we need a worker dyno for that? There's a Heroku scheduler plugin that we can use. Okay.
Oh yeah, I don't really remember. I think there might be hidden bits of.
Okay. Is this, Raoul, is this something that you want to particularly take the lead on, or should we just look at it together when we have a chance?
So essentially, do we need to run it once, or you want us to set up the task to run? Like,
well, it's clear that we can have a short-term fix to run it once, but it would be so that we don't repeatedly encounter the thing again. I think it would be nice at least to explore if we can run it with some frequency without incurring too much financial penalty.
Yeah. So is that task documented somewhere? The one we need to run?
Well, it's this GitHub commits job, and I was just finding it here we have this scheduler.rake file, which is in lib tasks. There.
So this job can be run on projects, but it can also be run on users. I don't know if we have two separate jobs for that.
Right.
Because we have a user.
It seems to do both of them. But yeah, I mean, I guess in principle, I could run this from the command line of my website 1 here right now.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
If I'm website 1, which I should be over somewhere. It's gone. It's gone. That's the website 1, isn't it? Yes. Git checkout master.
And then you'll see a lot of, you will see a lot of rubbish, junk, I think somebody referred to.
Quite possibly. But so I need to do Heroku run rake, and so the name of this is just going to be its fetch GitHub commits. And then I need to do minus remote production. That would just cause it to run on production, yeah?
Yep.
So sometimes when things are, so like let's just put that in there. So I guess anyway. I'm gonna, having just done that, I'm gonna assign myself to this, and I'm gonna follow up and check on it. And yeah, where's Tansaku? Where's me? There I am.
Type.
So I guess there's the process of looking into the frequency issue and so on. Should we just have a quick vote on this?
So just to clarify things, we'll have to set up something on Heroku. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, I've set up schedulers on Heroku before, and I've got some experience with them. I think what we would want to do is we want to investigate, what the ins and outs are there. I mean, it's it'll be an interesting question here if, what happens there. But yeah, should we? Any other questions on that? Should we have I think it would be, set up a scheduler if possible. In the first instance, like investigate, can we have this scheduled regularly without incurring too much financial penalty?
Okay.
Sure. So, place your votes in the website 1 channel. 3, 2, 1. All right. Lovely, lovely, lovely. So we're kind of, I don't know how everybody else is for time. We've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more things here in the ready section. How are people feeling for time? Should we spend another 10 or 15 minutes on things? Should we come back? Should we be doing something different? What do you think?
I could do another 10 minutes.
I guess I'm particularly, I think what we maybe should do is just check that all of us here have all the things we need in order to make progress. So I've got quite a lot of information for me today to move forward. So for Michael, yeah, if there's a ticket that you're thinking of working on, maybe we should prioritize voting on that.
Yeah, the one I just put in.
Oh yeah.
At the top of the backlog.
Okay. So should we bring that into ready then? And yeah, so this is a new feature, and you're planning to work on it. Yeah. So do you just want to anything else you need to say about this? Is it? Yeah.
No, I think this is going. I think this is going to be relatively easy. I'm relatively certain there's some gem or something that I can utilize to actually let the user put in their time and their own local time. And, so I don't think it's going to be a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
And and I guess we've got this one is 755. It may also.
I imagine that'll just kind of go away because it'll be replaced.
755. I guess one thing that Thomas mentioned in relation to, the pull request that we were looking at before is, you introduced the format local time thing here. Presumably there's some sort of like helper method or something that's on the show pages that's actually displaying things in the correct time. Something we might look for is whether is there overlap there? Like, I'm just almost tempted. Like app, views, events, show page. Like, it's got this like current occurrence local time method here. Did you look at this at all?
Yeah, it's doing something slightly
different, and it's
different.
It's kind of it's this weird thing of it's showing you.
Yeah, I looked at that. I didn't really know what it was doing and why it was doing it that way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, maybe Sanpriti or Raul have any thoughts on this, but it's kind of, I think it's kind of weird, like, when I go here and it's sort of showing me, like, yeah. I think, I guess we've got like maybe that would just go away as part of the event page clear up.
Yeah, I was actually going to think about just replacing that call with the one I made.
Mm-hmm.
So that one's like digging into a hash and stuff, and I don't know why it has to do that.
Yeah, well, that can maybe be revisited as part of this. I think the events show page here in the redesign, does it have? There it is. Yeah, I think the redesign, it just, it hides that, and then it's like see more dates for the event, and yeah. Anyway, cool. But so should we just vote on we've got here, allow users to create events in their local time zone. Does anybody else need any more discussion on this particular feature before we have a vote? Sounds like a no. Let's take this into here and.
Sorry for jumping in again.
Right.
So can we just have a quick discussion why that is necessary?
Yes. Well, let me leap in and say I think that at the moment is if you create a new event.
Yes.
You have to create the event in UTC. You have to you might be thinking, I want to do this event tomorrow on my time, 10 p.m. But you have to convert in your head to UTC in order to create the event.
Yes, well, we explicitly said that. I remember this story when we were creating it, and the reason why we chose UTC was because this is a kind of international community, and so that was actually a requirement,
right.
Instead of setting that in local time. So I'm fully supporting that. This could, I fully understand that this could cause a problem for somebody that doesn't know, I'm -5 UTC and I don't, calculate and stuff like that. But also, I think that we need to we need to display stuff in UTC so people can relate to that somehow. And, so I am not fully convinced that this is actually the right path to go, to be honest. But I'm just venting my opinion here. So
sure.
Perhaps we could have
a discussion. Michael, what do you think?
We already display the time in both local and UTC on the event show page, and I don't think while create an event, I think it's better to just create it in local time than in UTC, because there is a confusion about the dates as well. Like maybe 11th February, 12:30 is 10th February. Some other time in UTC, so there's a confusion a bit for the dates if we create in a different time zone than what I am in.
Yeah. So I would suggest another path. I would suggest whether we create the event in local time or UTC, perhaps we should implement some sort of a calculator that shows the user what, you know, if he sets in his own time, he like some sort of a JavaScript calculator should show him, you know, what that will be in UTC as well, or something.
I would say I don't necessarily understand what the hang up is on UTC. UTC is just another time zone. As far as the user is concerned, the user doesn't care what UTC time is. The user cares what time it's going to be to them. The browser knows what their time is. I mean, I to be honest, I can't ever remember going to a website and being required to know UTC time, or ever seeing UTC time.
Well, apart from edX. edX has all of their times in UTC.
Yeah, apart from edX. But I mean, if you go to any commercial website out there, you're going to see your local time. You're not going to see UTC. As far as like people collaborating across the world, for somebody in India or somebody in Japan, they could care less what the UTC time is. They only care what it is in their time.
Mm.
I can't ever imagine somebody going to this page and saying, "Oh, I wonder what that is in UTC."
Mm.
They don't care. They care what time it is to them. As far as the other concern about the dates and the calculator and stuff, or the dates getting messed up, that should all be taken care of by the converter that we utilized.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to display when that event is to that user.
Mm-hmm.
On this particular entry page, I don't think there'll be any confusion, because I would imagine it's going to show them what time zone they're inputting in, and unless they have their browser set to some time zone other than their own, it should just be intuitive to them.
Right.
I can't imagine anybody ever wanting to specifically use UTC's time zone unless they're developing a program or something.
Right.
As far as that's my thoughts on it.
Sure. Raul, any thoughts?
Well, the times we save them in UTC anyway in the database, right? So like this is just something that the user will see. If I come in and I set up my time, we can internally decide what time zone we decide to set to save the time on. And like with the new change that Michael introduced, whether the time it shouldn't really matter what time zone we use to set the time when setting up the event, because in any case we're going to be displaying them in local time to the user. So,
and I would also add that of course I had the initial post on the difficulties using this website to start with, but somebody actually went in there and commented on that edX forum post.
Yes.
So they specifically did not create a pairing event because of the difficulty in trying to figure out what in the world time it was.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, if I can bring all the different points of view together, I think that I would concur with you, Michael, that I think users coming in generally don't care, or almost they really don't care about UTC, and I think I'm kind of keen for you to make this change to reduce the friction that people have in terms of creating events, because I would like people to create more events, and I think it's kind of a barrier. I'm sympathetic to what Thomas is saying. I think Thomas is not saying that people want to know UTC. I think there's part of what Thomas is, he'd like people to be aware of UTC. So there's kind of, it's like he'd like people, and I think we'd all like people to be aware that there are other time zones out there, and so there's there's an argument that if they create their start time here in Pacific Standard Time, when it comes onto the the actual events page, that we would then see the by the way, this is, we've got like World Time Buddy that we can use, that I often use in order to kind of like be aware of, okay, if I'm setting an event like the client meeting for the order graders or what have you, there are people in New York and San Francisco and what have you, I want to be aware of that. So I think that's important when you're collaborating globally, to be aware of it. But I think I come down on the side of, at the point at which the person is actually creating it here, they should be doing it in their local time zone to make it as easy as possible. When they then see the individual event, I think if that one happens to show that it's UTC, they can always change it afterwards. I think I want to be cautious about introducing like the more complex this form is, the fewer people will use it to actually create pairing events. So yeah, that's the way I lean. Have I kind of managed to integrate what people are thinking there, or?
So I concur. I think that it's a good change. What I'm trying to say is that it's very important for us that we store information in UTC.
Yes, absolutely.
In the database. That's I think it's a very important condition.
Yeah.
And I remember from the last time we visited this story or this aspect, because this is not the first time that it has come up. I know that this was a sort of a compromise because there were some issues with always getting the right time zone from the browser, or whether, because I think for some, and I'm not quite sure about this, but I think that what we have to deal with is the time zone that the server is on, or some there was some complications with it.
Absolutely.
But, if you can get this to work and everything is stored in UTC, then I'm up all for it. But I know that times and dates are always a hassle with users, and we will end up. So by just saying UTC to everything was a way to normalize that.
Yes.
And because we have daytime savings, and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So, but yes, if we can get a nice solution that enhances usability, I'm up all for it, I would say.
Wonderful. Should we take this to a vote? I mean, I think we're kind of agreed on what the end game is. Of course, it may be complicated to get there, and there may be complexities. Should we take a vote on this now?
Just to be clear, I have absolutely no intention of changing the way anything's stored in the database. The database should definitely be UTC.
Yes. Yes. Well, and if we're lucky, maybe that the environment change that you've made will all, I guess, in the worst of luck, it'll all explode nastily. In the best of luck, that change will help fix, and everything will be calm and beautiful and wonderful. So yes, shall we vote on this story then? So if you will place your number in the Website One Slack channel, and then I will do the venerable countdown of your, and I shall say 1. No, it's on the other end. Sorry, 3, 2, 1, go. Yes, and so we have a group of 2s, and Thomas, you're a 3. I guess I shall, rather than putting words in your mouth, I shall let you describe the reasons for your 3 as opposed to 2.
It was a week 3, so I'm up. I'm down for a 2. No problem.
All right, nice one. Okay, so that's sorted. Yeah, and I'm thinking, well, that was great that we were able to do that for Michael. Sound pretty, Raul, are there any stories that you were thinking of working on that need voting on, or you're blocked in any way? I mean, I'm thinking I should probably wrap up.
There's the GitHub channel, rather than like posting to the GitHub channel. There's a story for that.
Oh yes.
I'll be working on that now.
Okay, right, yes. Does everybody understand what this story is? By the way, this is on the AgileBot project. This is to have the edX pairing events go to the edX Gitter channel rather than our Slack channel, because I think they're not serving much purpose in the Slack channel apart from. Go on, Michael.
I was gonna say I have a question on this one. In that, how do we even know the difference? Not everybody puts 169 blah and.
The thing is, like, when Website One starts to hang out, the title that the first title that it has always has the pair programming on project names, or like the pair programming events or something like that. There's the ESAS or CS169 or SAS. So I'll set up a regex so that anything of those words will automatically be posted to the 169 channel, and then right now it will go to the Gitter channel. I mean, if someone has like anything other than that, I don't think I can do much about it.
Right.
But most of the are like either ESAS or MOOC or CS169, so that works for that, I guess.
I mean, I guess we've like the 169 and so on and so on. Yeah, I guess ultimately what we may well want is something like we want a category which will be specifically for that, and we will, like
I would say that's a good idea, you know, because searching for different words, we would have to go over the channel history and search for that. I would say a special category.
Right. Yes, we've had a look. I think in the first instance, maybe rather than voting on this, I think this is well. You've already prototyped that you can post to the Gitter channel, haven't you, Sam? Pretty.
Need the account credentials for a Hangouts post and vote from your. If you can, or should I do that? Like just create some bot account.
Yeah, you create a bot for that. I mean, I would say we could vote on this. It's like maybe this is going to be like an investigation here of getting this to work. We might want to come back around on this because, yeah, it does feel like doing a regex on it is going to be somewhat unreliable. Yeah. I mean, like these guys.
I mean, I would almost say have a checkbox.
Yeah.
Just to indicate if it's a. Because I mean, there's no question the majority of pair programming sessions are the students.
Yes. I mean, the other thing that is that I think we also have students creating like never-ending repeats of their things, and this has been like I have a feeling that this, you know, is just, you know, not that we need to like force expire those, but I guess I should create a separate issue for that. But should we take this to the votes on this one? Should we? I don't know. I'm kind of out of time, really. I feel like I should wrap up and.
Yeah, I'd say let's. What do you say? Vote on the investigation of what needs to be done, because I think this is a multi-part issue. I don't think this is just going to end up being a single thing.
Yeah, let's vote on the investigation of the issue rather than actually the fixing of it. I'm in two minds about what the.
Set it up as a chore and just let Sabrina investigate it.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can leave it there. I mean, basically, there's no explicit chore thing, so I think let's leave it as unvoted, meaning that it's investigation, and that simplifies that. Let's just check in with Raul. So, is there anything that you need voted on that's blocking you, or anything at all?
So, not that I want to particularly work on. The last one about the project things we use, so I think it's a pretty important thing we should have working on. So maybe
this
except
one.
Jira.
Yeah, and I think. You mean this one here? Yeah, being able to support other tools. Yes.
Yeah, the current validator doesn't even accept the new
pivotal tracker one. Yeah. Indeed. Shall I just assign you to that, and we'll leave it as a chore? That's something that you might look into to see.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, excellent. All right. Well, I think, you know, we've got quite a lot done today. I'm quite pleased. I feel like we've made progress. I guess it's just a question of like having done that. Hopefully, you know, we'll have another thing we can have a look at the backlog and so on. I hope to have these tomorrow. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Anything else we need to organize there? I feel we have kicked off. We have some directions. We have, you know, unblocked some people, including myself.
Yeah. Regarding that pull request from, was it Jeff? You said you fixed it. So what I was suggesting, I don't know how Thomas used to fix that. So what I would usually do is just run the thing locally on my computer and make sure the tests stop passing, and then decide whether to merge that.
Sure. Yeah, I think that was the thing that gave me pause for thought last time, was because the tests were failing for me locally. But I think that, you know, we've looked at that together before, so I think I'll have another sit down and look at that tomorrow. I think it shouldn't be necessarily such a big deal. As I'm becoming more familiar with the product, it should be fine. Yeah.
How's
cool.
that rake task going for you?
Well, it's run, and look, Met Plus is now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's now number 6 in the current project. So Joao will be pleased, I think.
Well, there you go.
There we go. Excellent. Yes.
And a lot of junk in the output, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the private repos that is.
Right. Interesting. So we've got this one here. I may just go in here, Joao. We ran this and looks like we have short-term fixed effects. It's interesting to me that then looking at this sequence of the projects here is I see that we've got the website one looks also look up. Then it's interesting to me that these guys. I mean, this was a great project and is being now used, but I think it's pretty much it's possible. I don't think it's got any recent activity. It would be, I think, nice in the long run. Yeah, last commit is from a year ago. This was a great project, but I think ultimately we want this to reflect projects with recent activity. But anyway, I should just stop talking. There's so many exciting things, guys. It's been great. I think yeah, good stuff. We did triage the board. We do need to do it regularly. Yeah, but for this website, this time and this format works well. We'll same time again next week. We'll do another async retro and carry on. Yeah. Awesome. Good stuff, guys. All right. I will check in with you all tomorrow. Yeah, have a lovely evening or morning or whatever time of day you want to have right now. God bless. Ciao.
Ciao.
Ciao for now. Thanks, guys. Take care.